Hello, elevator community. Welcome to the Elevator Entrepreneur Podcast. My mission is to empower my fellow elevator entrepreneurs in creating your growth plan, which is going to free your time, allowing you to rest easy. I'm your host, Sean Madden. I've had an amazing 35 years in the elevator industry, starting out in the field, managed several elevator companies, started, built, and sold Madden Elevator Company for well over market value, and serving as your NAC president. I've done a lot in the industry, and now I'm ready to pay my knowledge forward. Let's dive right in. Welcome to the Elevator Entrepreneur Show. I'm here with guest Christopher Carey from Vertical Environmental Solutions. Christopher and I were just talking a little bit about his background and how he got in the industry, and that's always intriguing to me. So, Christopher, take us a little bit through that story, how you got in the elevator industry, what brought you through to today.
Sure. So my first entry point into the vertical transportation industry was at a very young age, around 17, 18 years old. I grew up with a gentleman whose father owned a local 3 elevator company in the Bronx in New York.
Nice.
And he gave me an opportunity right out of high school to get my hands dirty. You know, it was one of those, you're going to hang out at my son's house and sleep on the couch for to get to work type situation. So needless to say, I started out just like everyone else in the industry, a helper, doing everything that they had to do back then, and worked my way up to a mechanic level. I'd say after about 4 years in, from 9/11 hit. So a lot of things changed for me, personal level. So I kind of took a break from the industry for a while. I changed careers, but I bumped into that gentleman a few years later in my travels, and he said, "I'd really like you to come back because there was just this one little thing you did that was very interesting as a helper that not many people did." I said, "Oh yeah, what was that?" And it said, "You took pride in cleaning and painting and doing a lot of really nasty work that most people don't even want to touch." And he's like, "You just had this way about it with you." And it really stood out. I actually think you could do well in this business if you kind of marketed that. I said, "Interesting." So I gave it a thought, and that thought took over a year, but he convinced me and I tried it out. So I went from that helper mechanic side of things to now I'm in the cleaning and environmental side of things. How do I market this? How do I pitch this? How do I get the elevator service providers at buildings to engage with that type of service? And then I realized, wait a second, I'm in New York City. There's over 100,000 elevators. Everyone's got violations.
Yeah.
So this sounds about right. I'd say probably around 2006 or 7, I started the business. And by 2008, 2009, it really started taking off. And then in 2012, Hurricane Sandy decimated New York and New Jersey. And that's what really put everything into perspective for a lot of these service providers.
Yeah.
Because we had some challenges trying to sell what we do. When you think elevators, especially from a service provider side, you don't necessarily think about cleaning. You know,
Right.
It was always the helper's job. And let's just say it didn't matter as much. But when Sandy hit, they understood right away what we offered, what we represented. And from that day forward till now, we are literally the number 1 cleaning service, at least in our area in the Northeast, but we do travel nationwide. I feel like we've definitely pioneered the whole concept of cleaning, housekeeping, and environmental around the safety and preventative maintenance side of things. So it does go hand in hand with a lot of things today. It's kind of where I'm at with that type of the career.
So first off, congratulations on jumping out and starting a new venture. It's always exciting, fun, scary, and challenging all together.
It is.
But you did it. You're officially an entrepreneur, jumping out and starting that. And you have a very unique niche. Like most elevator companies, most elevator guys, they don't want to clean dirty pits. They don't want to do the environmental type stuff. So I'd say most companies and most techs probably appreciate the heck out of what you do and try to push to help promote it. So that's one interesting thing. I know we did a lot of oil cleanouts and that kind of stuff. It is not something you really want to go do, but you do it because you have to do it. And so that's really a good niche you have. So tell us a little bit about your business and what are some of the biggest challenges you've faced as you've grown your business? And maybe let's talk through a little bit about what you did to help solve some of those things.
Sure. So like I said, the terminology environmental service is very broad, but in our market with elevators and escalators, vertical transportation as a whole, it's a little bit of a different approach. Most environmental companies out there, they're dealing with in-ground tanks on properties, soil conservation issues, asbestos abatements, and things like that. Now, we do deal with a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
What we really specialize in is the flooded elevator pits with water, oil, waste clean downs that hadn't been cleaned since possibly even the day they were installed. It can date back 100 plus years. So just over time, regular buildup of nasty crime. But there's also disaster related things, fires, floods, and stuff like that. And when you have those things happening, you get mold, you get smells, you get your violations and fines. The cars are shut down. You can't operate them, especially if there's some damage to some components in those pits, even to the elevator machine rooms. And sometimes when you have a disaster or something like a fire or just water damage, we would be the company that comes in and remediates those things. But it's a little bit more than just coming in and pumping it out. At the end of the day, we're going to make that look exactly like it looked. Maybe better, actually definitely better than it was before it got flooded. So like you said, these techs, mechanics, the building owners, the service provider management, they love it because they're like, wow, this is great work. We've got more of this. And then they start thinking, wow, there's a lot more of this out there that needs to be done. We are that go-to company for that type of service. The biggest thing I've done in the past 7 to 10 years is waterproofing. We get into these situations where we're coming to pump out an elevator pit that's flooded with hydraulic fluid or flooded with water or a sewage pipe burst or something. And then we come to the determination there's groundwater issues, there's leaks coming in. So there's some opportunities there to offer more service. Let's talk about the challenges. When you start offering more services, it's not just a light switch, 1, 2, 3. Hey, we offer it. Let's do it. Here we go. You really have to invest a lot of time in education and understanding the products, equipment, and material that you use. It's all in the training on using those products and equipment to essentially make your job easier, but also safe at the same time. So some of the challenges that we faced over the years is how do we hone in on what the best practice or the best solution is for a given situation? In the beginning, early stages of opening the business, we were getting calls from companies with the most unique situations where it's like, well, we didn't have to think about how to do that. And give me a little bit, I'll get back to you. And then it turned into, we really got to start understanding what these challenges are that the service providers are having and how we can help them. So it's a little bit of marketing to them, but also marketing to ourselves. I'm like, how do we really give the best bang for the buck? What's the best solution? What's the standard operating procedure? So it's a snowball thing. It's a domino. You got to make sure you're delivering the right thing to the customer, the end user, but you also got to make sure that your staff and employees are properly trained. And you also got to stay with the times. Technology changes left and right. There's always going to be something that comes out. Hey, this is better than this, or this is better than that. But why? I need to know why. Show me the proofs in the pudding.
The shiny object is always fun.
I can't tell you how many times we've lost time, we've lost money in trying new things that didn't work. But you won't know until you do it. That's why a lot of the products and services we offer, we stand by, because we definitely take the time to do our research, educate and train, and then show the proof to the end user. But it speaks volumes because in today's times and temperature with the economy, everyone's trying to save a buck, but in the end, it's quality over quantity sometimes. So that's what we really strive for.
No, it's awesome. And I've seen some of your work before and after pictures, and it's pretty amazing. And I feel like your customer really is the end user, the building owner, but really your marketing arm is the elevator techs and the elevator companies, because they're the ones that don't really want to deal with it. So if you can educate them on what you're doing and then help them educate the clients and also the office, then those opportunities will grow. And sales and marketing in our industry, it seems to me it's always been a little bit of a challenge. We're just behind the scenes a lot of times, and then finding the right person, like who is the decision maker. You got all these layers with the office manager and even a general manager, engineering, all this different stuff. I remember one time I hired a company to help me with sales and marketing because it's not my background initially. learned a ton about it over the last 34 years, but my original background was in the field and then was in operations mostly. So I learned sales through the process. I hired a company to come in and help me. My wife said she thought it was a crazy idea. I said, well, you know what? We're going to invest in this. It's like $34,000 a year. She told me it was a mistake. I didn't listen to her. I knew that was a mistake. And I went ahead and jumped off the cliff, and we did it for a year. But I just remember this one story where these guys were trying to get me to walk down the street with a briefcase that was pink in my hand that was handcuffed to my wrist with rubber handcuffs and go try to sell elevator service and elevator monitoring service in Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm like, I can't do that. But so that's when I knew.
I was really hoping to hear you say you tried it for a day and these were my results. But
No. I said, how am I supposed to justify this? And they were like, well, just make up a story like your mom had cancer. And I'm like, what? And then I had to fire them. I was like, no, I'm done with y'all.
yeah, it's wild. And you're right. Just to back step for a second here, when I had mentioned earlier that I left the industry for a few years, when I say a few years, I only mean 4, But there was a point in time where I overlapped both careers that I was doing. And that career I changed to was entertainment production and marketing and things like that. So I understand the marketing approach and the wonky ideas that some people come up with. Because sometimes you really do have to think outside the box. But that one's an interesting one there, Sean.
Yeah. Well, one other quick story. They did have one good idea out of all the crazy ideas they had over those 12 months. And what I realized is what their marketing and what their background and experience was, they were marketing widgets, and we don't sell widgets. We sell relationships, right?
Right.
And so once they got their head wrapped around that, they come up with this idea to get a mini iPad and record me on the mini iPad for this potential client and wipe everything off except this recording. And then they delivered it. It was Jewish Hospital, and they delivered it, and Jewish Hospital was just really wowed by this process. It was a cool idea, and it got me a foot in the door to meet with them and talk to them and bid the service and all that kind of stuff. I had never come up with that myself. So that was a neat little idea they came up with for everybody out there. You might try something like that if you got a big client. It worked really well to get my foot in the door. And after we went through the bid process, I actually decided that it was too big for us at the time. And we backed away respectfully with them, and they respected that. And they kept giving me opportunities for other stuff along the way because they knew we wasn't going to bite off more than we can chew. So it was just a good learning process. And sales and marketing in our industry, like I said, it's very intriguing to try to find different ways to get to the decision maker. But that's the ultimate goal. Get to the decision maker, build the relationship, show them you care, answer the phone. Sales and marketing to me is really about answering the phone.
It definitely can be. And you're right, Sean. For what we do in this vertical of the industry it's not something that you're driving down the highway and it's like elevator service repair on a billboard. You'll see Johnny's Plumbing and Heating Service, but a lot of people don't consider that aspect. So it's definitely a different approach on all fronts. Building the relationship, you got to market yourself to them.
Yeah.
Once you're in the door, you got to continue marketing your services and things you're offering, especially if you have new things don't are.
Yeah.
And then it's also marketing internally to your staff and building those relationships with them to help your network grow and your company as well. So I get it.
That's great insights. The one thing that often gets forgotten once you get a sale, onboarding that customer and maintaining that relationship with that customer, because nowadays there's so much turnover. You don't have a build manager staying there forever. And even when I was working for another company in Florida, they had so many different chiefs, right? And the turnover was crazy. You had to continually build the relationship and continually remind them how good you are and continually show them how you're doing a good job for them. And it's a process and a full time, but that is actually part of sales and marketing is keeping your clients.
Well, I think it also toughens you up. You know the challenges, and you're like, all right, well, I've dealt with this before.
Yeah.
I think I know how to handle the situation, but you also got to understand who that person is, how they think, how they operate. So it's like you're doing sales and marketing, and you're also, it's like, all right,
that's a really good way to put it. Yep, absolutely. No, it's great insights. I really appreciate it. What's one thing you would like to leave our listeners with? A good golden nugget or piece of advice that you'd like to leave our elevator entrepreneurs with?
From an entrepreneurial standpoint, no matter when you get into the game, whether you were younger or older, doesn't matter. I think it's very important to have all the proper training there is within our industry. And of course, safety is number one. But I also mean management, allocating time and efforts to putting into services that will benefit your company. There's a lot of people that hold pride close to the chest, say, nope, I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to do that. Well, sometimes it's not always the case. And you may need to just consider the alternative, hiring that right person or bringing in that right person to help facilitate those needs, because you can't be the chief of everything. And sometimes what you're looking to have done, you have a thought in your head of what you think is right, but that person might be very good at what they do and will deliver that for you. But also just trending times, everything's changing, stay on top of it. Definitely keep your network going, attend your events and travel to see important people, or never forget who helps you get to where you're getting to, because we all get busy. And sometimes it could take a couple of days to respond to someone. Sometimes people get a little, hey, what's going on, man? So always leave time for that. And that's why I say there's always somebody out there that can help you take some stuff off your plate so you can move forward. And that's been the biggest thing I've learned over the years, because being in the field and not being able to handle certain aspects of the business, you kind of get a little bogged down. You're like, oh my God, I really have so much to take care of. And your head spinning. So
Yeah.
we don't want that. So I think, again, it's just always look for more information, education, and training.
Yep. Delegate and elevate. That's something I remember hearing a lot of, and setting up systems so that you can make sure the people you're delegating with are on track. And then you can go educate yourself on new stuff so you can grow as an entrepreneur. So Great insights, Chris. Really appreciate your time. This has been a great chat. I love doing this stuff. And thanks for everything you're doing for the elevator industry, for sure, because you're in a very niche piece of the industry. And I promise you, I guarantee you, the elevator techs appreciate what you do. So have a great day. Thanks a lot. See you, bud.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Elevator Entrepreneur Podcast. I truly hope this information helps my fellow elevator entrepreneurs to build your growth plan so you can free your time, allowing you to rest easy. If you need help getting your elevator business organized for growth, I've created tools and templates inside my favorite business operating system that you can access for free. Plus, you can have a 30-day free trial of the software. Just head over to elevatorstrategichub.com/EBOS. That's /EBOS to get your free access, or you can click the link below. Thanks again. I'll be back next time with a brand new episode on the Elevator Entrepreneur. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I will continue to empower my fellow elevator entrepreneurs.